We are really excited. We're talking about a topic that is near and dear to my heart as well as our other speakers, and we'll do some intros on our side. We're going to be talking about how subscription data empowers your go-to-market team and folks and companies that we have on here. If we jump forward one, I am Connor. I am the CEO of Aptitude 8. We're a HubSpot Elite Solutions partner, and we also have a product arm called 8 Labs, where we build products for the HubSpot ecosystem. And so we're really excited because we have some stuff specific to subscriptions, and we see a lot of different companies in subscriptions, e-commerce, anyone focused on payments have lots of problems and opportunities that they want to capture using their CRM and using this data. And joining us, we have amazing folks as well. So Rob and Mike, I'll let you guys do your own intro. I put it in the chat earlier, and I am joining from New York. Rob, I will hand it to you.
Great. Thanks, Connor. Yeah, hi, everyone. My name is Rob Taylor. I'm based in Seattle, Washington, and I lead our partner solution engineering team for the Americas at Stripe. And prior to Stripe, I've worked at other places such as ServiceNow and Microsoft. So it's nice to meet you all today.
Yeah, hi, everybody. I'm Mike Vittum. I'm calling in from Boston, Massachusetts. And so I'm the senior manager. I go to market lead for HubSpot payments. I've been at HubSpot a little over 10 years. So seen a lot of great things and very excited about payments and excited about being here today.
Sweet. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We're going to go through a couple things today. So at the front end, we're going to talk a little bit about payments data, subscriptions data, why it's crucial to the overall customer journey. We're going to talk about how your go-to-market teams can leverage different payments data, target different customers, do your upsells, conversions, all of that super awesome go-to-market stuff. And then we're actually going to go through 3 examples of ways that you can do this directly. So Mike's going to talk a little bit about HubSpot payments and how you guys can use it, especially if you are either you're not a HubSpot customer, if you're currently a HubSpot customer, how it works, where it's a good fit. We'll talk a little bit about Zebra, which is our product, a Stripe and HubSpot connector. And then I will let Rob expand a little bit on Stripe, which does so much more than just payments and can really help you sort of scale your financial infrastructure and automation and everything that you can do beyond payments and subscriptions, leveraging Stripe. And at the tail end, we will do and answer some Q&A as well. So if you do have questions, either throughout the webinar or towards the end, pull open that QA section, type something in there. If it's specific to any of these products, we will endeavor our best to answer them on this webinar, or we will get you those resources after as well. Or if you have something specific to a problem you're working on or how to solve something, we'd love to talk through that too. So pop that into the Q&A at any point. We'll touch on that at the end of this, and we'll sort of round robin those amongst whoever's most equipped to answer them. So don't worry about waiting too much to the end. If you do put stuff in the chat, we'll try to check it, but the Q&A is the best place to make sure that we actually address any of your questions. So we'll go ahead and get started here on why is payment data so crucial to that customer data and what it is and how to use it and how it ties into everything that you do. So as a starting point, businesses spend a lot of time and money capturing and organizing data. If you work in an organization, you probably invest in one or all of these technologies today. People work heavily on web analytics and tools like GA or HubSpot or any marketing automation tool and tracking their top of funnel user engagement and analytics on their site. People invest in marketing automation and tracking who are their engaged contacts, who's interacting with their emails, who's actually working with and following up with any of their key content. You're likely using a CRM, you're managing your sales team, your sales performance, what engagements your team is having with those prospects and those customers, and then your service desk platform. So how are you actually delivering on support? How long does it take you to resolve different customer issues? What types of customer issues do you typically hear about? And companies typically spend not only a ton of money on tools to manage all of these pieces, but there's full functions that their entire job function is to build, orchestrate, and create solutions on top of all of these pieces. Despite all of that, right? And what we typically see is really smart companies are unifying this data and actually combining all of it together to not just leverage it in individual silos, but bring all of it together to help them achieve things that they otherwise couldn't. And that's the reason why we're really starting to see success with HubSpot, which is why we have Mike here, but also to talk about payments, which is HubSpot has seen tons of success investing in a single platform for all of the teams with sales, service tools, marketing tools, service tools all combined into one. We with Aptitude 8, we work a lot with HubSpot, but we also see a lot of rise with systems orchestration tools like Syncari, Workato, Hightouch, different tools to sync and unify data across various systems. And we believe this is really the big driver of the increasing popularity of RevOps, which is a function that we do, which is really focused on breaking down those silos, unifying those teams, connecting those systems, and getting that data into a useful and usable format. Despite a lot of this, and what we typically see is that in our next slide here, for most businesses, their payment data is siloed. The vast majority of customers that we work with typically have an accounting or an ERP or a payments platform, and that tool does not speak to the tools the GTMTs use. The marketing team really struggles with pulling any of that information. And what this does is it prevents those teams from actually engaging in a bunch of strategies that would otherwise drive them forward, right? So we see customers that want to automate customer communications based on payments events, things like, thank you for your recent payment, or you haven't paid in a while, you owe us money, or you're on this particular plan and we want to upgrade you. We also see tons of customers trying to leverage product-led growth strategies. So whether they're a free trial-driven organization, or maybe they're trying to nurture or engage with customers that are using one tier of product and trying to move them to another one. We also see sales-assisted motions is really painful. We often see this with organizations that have some product-led growth strategies, but their sales team is trying to engage with and push people along that product-led journey or segment those audiences. And because their payments data isn't talking to those systems, they can't manage it. Similarly, tons of pain on renewals. Huge pain point for CS teams, which is, who are my active customers? Where are they trending to? Have they already renewed? Are they renewing soon? Do we have payment methods in place? Will they auto renew? Prioritizing customer requests, huge pain point for services teams, being able to triage and route tickets and support inquiries based on the value of that customer versus treating every single ticket the same way. And another pain point that we often see on the sales function is converting customers to paid. So the sales team goes out, they sell a new customer, they send them a quote, they get a signature, but now we actually have to send that to the finance or to the product team to actually get that customer spun up, capture a payment method, and move them through. And customers really want that low touch, low friction experience of being able to upgrade customers without having to go and talk to support or engage with somebody about their plan. And so because this data is disconnected, it prevents them from being able to engage in a lot of these strategies. And this actually has a direct impact. So this is pulled from a Forrester study. I won't read you everyone, I promise. But what we typically see is companies are having a ton of pain because their payments and their finance data is disconnected from those go-to-market teams. So if you resonate with any of these, you're in the right place. You're also not an outlier. This is extremely common. And so while this matters a lot for SaaS companies or memberships or e-commerce businesses, right? So SaaS companies, obviously you manage subscriptions, you're doing that somewhere because it's by the nature of the definition of the type of business model you are. Memberships organizations, which we serve a lot of, so professional associations, different premium subscription products, streaming, all of these courses, anything that people are charging for on a regular basis for this, as well as e-commerce companies. Everyone kind of struggles with this in these buckets, but the reality is, right, is every single business, regardless of the type of business you are, takes payments. So if we jump forward one, this is really the core piece, which is every single business, by the nature of being a business, you take payments at some point. And if you aren't taking payments online, you should be. And we think that this is super important. Every single business struggles with this. And the reason that we've brought the speakers that we have today, if we jump to our next slide here, is that we've identified really good solutions for every single size of organization. So the question is, how do you collect payments and subscriptions, but also how do you leverage that data? And so we have Mike and Rob here, and I'm going to hand it over to Mike, and I'll let him tell you a little bit more about HubSpot payments and how HubSpot is tackling this problem.
Yeah, thanks, Connor, for inviting HubSpot to be part of this workshop. And for those who missed it at the top, my name's Mike. I lead our go-to-market efforts for HubSpot payments. During my time at HubSpot, I've been fortunate to see many new initiatives and features that help solve for our customers and transform their businesses. When I first learned about HubSpot payments, I was a little surprised. As Connor mentioned, HubSpot traditionally is known as major player in the marketing and CRM and services space, but commerce is a very new world. But as I learned more, I realized that commerce is a perfect fit for HubSpot, and more importantly, for our customers who experience so much pain simply collecting money for the services that they offer. So let's dig into why I'm excited today, as I was when I first learned about HubSpot payments, and what we're doing to help our customers reduce friction in their processes and apply force in their business through new revenue streams. For me, one of the first big light bulb moments was when I found out that HubSpot payments natively marries back office commerce data with your front office CRM data. Breaking down those siloed walls, as Connor mentioned, unleashes a whole new level of opportunity for our customers. It's one thing to be able to view the data, but being able to utilize that data to reduce friction in your processes and empower your go-to-market teams is a game changer. No longer do you need multiple tools or integrations. HubSpot Payments is a one-stop shop for your commerce process. And with how things are shaping up in the economy, it's important for your business to move fast when opportunities strike and get paid quickly for the services that you offer. And what we're trying to do with HubSpot Payments is make the transfer of money easy, just like it should be. Before commerce and CRM, customer-centric buying decisions were handled through multiple systems and channels. And often these channels were siloed either the front or the back office. And vital information that go-to-market teams needed to make decisions and just be able to successfully service their customers and clients wasn't available. And now with those walls broken down, go-to-market teams have the ability to make better decisions for their customers and make the buying experience that much better. Connor mentioned a few of the examples, but staying on top of renewals and seeing when payments are past due, not losing sight when a payment has failed, or even the marketing teams being able to not send an email to somebody who has already purchased the product in a certain amount of time. They have more insight into the customer journey. Sales reps have more sales intelligence at their fingertips. Onboarding can begin as soon as a payment is successfully processed. And back office teams can look at deal information for more complete picture during reconciliation. That's something we shouldn't forget here. Yep, go-to-market teams, we want to empower them, but we also want to make the life of the back office team much easier as well, who sometimes can be a little bit against these changes, but when they start to see how much more information is at their fingertips, they're more on board. So let's take a look at a few other features in HubSpot Payments that are powered by commerce in CRM. So one of the features that I highlight to our customers all the time is how quickly you can create a new line of business. Simply find a service offering that doesn't need in-depth scoping or a complicated sales process. Create a simple checkout page using payment links inside of HubSpot Payments. Put that checkout experience behind a call to action button, or you can even embed the checkout process onto a website page if you want to have more control over the design. And boom, you've gone to market with a new offering in minutes. And that's pretty incredible. And that's something that our customers are still, I think, taking in and realizing how quickly they can spin up a new service offering. And saving money now is crucial. A simple checkout allows you to reduce your cost of acquisition from the start, and you don't need to have a human involved for that sales process. But when humans are involved in the sales process, one of the bigger friction points is quote to cash. It's often clunky and requires multiple steps and even more systems to complete a simple sign and pay. And we want to reduce that patchwork Franken system that sales reps must navigate to simply close a deal. Customized quote templates is one of the newer offerings that we have that is powered by our CRM, CMS, and our payments tools as well. And it allows users to create a customized quoting and contracting and invoicing experience for their customers. You can dynamically populate information using tokens, and sending, signing, and collecting is done through one process. And if that doesn't make a sales rep jump for joy, I'm not sure what will. Maybe double commission. That's a little outside of my wheelhouse, but we want to make it super easy to prospect, sell, and then sign and pay. And we're doing that through HubSpot Payments. The management of time is also super crucial for any go-to-market team. I won't ask for a show of hands here, but I'm curious how many of you have thought about charging for your time. I recently spoke to a customer that said she'd been looking for an easy way to charge for consulting hours without having to go through the process of billable hours. And she was so excited to hear that payments is soon going to be added to the meetings tool. And this does a bunch of things. I'll highlight two of them for you here. You can set varying prices based on the kinds of meetings. So if you have a customer, you want to set something up where customers can urgently book time with you, they can, that cuts down on your team's bandwidth. So maybe you charge a little more for that, right? We also know that buyers want control. So you give them the ability to find the time that's convenient for them, and they can use the payment method they want to check out. So you're really putting the power in the buyer's hands here. And look for more embedded payment features throughout the HubSpot platform as we move into the second half of 2022. And Connor's mentioned this. You can go to the next slide if you don't mind. Thank you. Connor mentioned this up front about, viewing data and how this is really a big data play of commerce in CRM, but it's very important what you do with that data. HubSpot has added a few new commerce-based objects to the CRM. These objects include a subscriptions object, invoice object, and a payments object. I want to highlight the payments object and what that unlocks for HubSpot Payments users. The payments object stores all your transactional data that is processed through HubSpot Payments and that is enabled either through a quote or a payment link. And it's central to empowering your go-to-market teams. Transaction data can now kick things off like automation, segmentation, and reporting. So maybe you want to send a welcome email immediately after a transaction takes place, not a problem. You can combine CRM, commerce, and automation. In a few clicks, you have a well-built-out automation process after the transaction takes place. So the power of commerce in CRM unlocks things that were previously not possible, or maybe they were too expensive to actually build, whether it be cost or time. And this is still a very new concept for HubSpot customers, but the simplicity of HubSpot Payments makes it easy to connect the dots. Automation can also help reduce, past due collections from go-to-market teams. Connor's mentioned that. I actually tell a story real quick here. I spoke with a CSM who told me that 30 to 40% of her day was spent chasing down past due balances and renewals. She was so excited when I told her, hey, we can automate this. This is a lot easier for you. You have visibility now and see who's renewing, who's paid, who hasn't. And she was super pumped about that she could spend more time finding opportunities to upsell. So, workflows with payments allows you to trigger webhooks, and that can do things in other systems. So it's not just central into the commerce and CRM, it also impacts other systems that you may have attached to HubSpot or things like Stripe. Go to the next slide. So, all this sounds great. But what does it look like in the real world? Well, I thought it'd be helpful for us to look at an early adopter of HubSpot Payments, a customer named ZenPilot. ZenPilot helps agencies streamline their operations in ClickUp. And as ClickUp's largest implementation partner, they've helped thousands of agencies deliver better client services without all the chaos. First, by offering ACH as a payment method rather than credit cards, ZenPilot was able to eliminate a 3% fee they used to pay to another payment provider. This reduced their cost per deal by $250, and that's a staggering $15K saved each month. And that savings they passed along to their customers. And in addition, by bringing commerce into the CRM utilizing automation, their go-to-market teams are able to save 2 working days per month. And this is time that was previously spent in doing manual invoicing or data input. And so with this increased efficiency, ZenPilot's now scheduling kickoff meetings faster, and sales is freed up to do more prospecting. So very good success story for HubSpot Payments. We hope to have many, many more like this. Final 2 slides here. Let's dig in just a little bit here quickly. Don't want to go too long on my time, but who's HubSpot Payments good for? HubSpot has always focused on friction points with small to medium-sized businesses. I would say that HubSpot Payments continues this trend. We do have different larger business size using HubSpot Payments, but the challenges that a 50 or less person company faces is a great fit for HubSpot Payments. HubSpot Payments can be used by Starter Plus on any hub subscription level, and HubSpot Payments is a perfect fit for anyone looking to simplify their tech stack when selling things like digital goods or recurring subscriptions, or even just simplifying and running their quote to cash process. There's no monthly fees, no minimums or commitments to utilize HubSpot Payments. You can go to the next slide if you don't mind, please. HubSpot Payments offers both credit card and ACH as payment methods. Both can be used through our quoting tool and for recurring payments. So thanks for the time. I ran you through that quick. I know that was kind of a whirlwind of HubSpot Payments. If you have questions, obviously let us know. But I'll now pass the controls back to Connor, who's going to walk through, what do you do when you have a slightly more involved, complicated commerce process that maybe something like HubSpot Payments isn't able to handle? Connor, to you.
Thank you, Mike. I also would like to say, so I'm going to talk a little bit about Zebra, but a lot of what Zebra does and was largely inspired by we at 8 had the luxury of checking out HubSpot Payments really early, building some projects on it. It's a really, really amazing tool, and it's extremely powerful. And so we've both built this. We launched some basic add-ons for one of our onboarding service lines with HubSpot Payments, and within a day or two of saying, hey, what if we offered people the ability to pay an extra $1,000 and add however many more hours to their onboarding? Wouldn't that be cool? And we went from sort of idea to live and collecting revenue in a day or two. And that's huge. And I think HubSpot Payments is awesome. If you are a HubSpot customer, check it out. The probability that you have something that is really easy and lightweight, you could start collecting revenue for right now, is really, really high. So I'd highly recommend to check that out. With our experience with HubSpot Payments, we started to encounter, and we were trying to leverage some of payments for customers that had more advanced needs. And so as a result, we ended up building Zebra, which is a HubSpot app. So it exists in the HubSpot app ecosystem. You can go there, you can install it right now. It's a really fun video, or had a product made. I'm far less interesting. But Zebra really helps you do 4 key things with your existing Stripe account. So what we found is the majority of SaaS businesses or e-commerce companies or people doing more complicated and advanced functionality with commerce than sort of a basic HubSpot payments flow would allow them for, is that they're typically using, whether it's a Chargebee or Recurly or Stripe. And if you're using other processors, I'll let Rob at the tail end of this talk about why we think Stripe is awesome. But we built sort of Zebra to connect with Stripe and HubSpot to do 4 things. So the first one is sync. So we can sync data between HubSpot and Stripe, manage, allowing you to sort of manage all of your Stripe data straight inside of HubSpot, automate everything off of that data, and then power reporting. So I'll dig into kind of each of these use cases and what that means, starting with sync. So with Zebra, so there is a standard Stripe HubSpot integration out of the box. It syncs with contacts. It's really useful for getting some of your Stripe customers into HubSpot and being able to sort of sync some basic information about them. But what we found for some of our more advanced customers is that they wanted more pieces of the puzzle. And so with Zebra, we sync contacts, we sync companies, we sync products one-to-one with Stripe. So all pre-existing products in Stripe come into HubSpot and have IDs associated with them. We also sync every single Stripe subscription back into HubSpot. So whether it's, if you're on a pro plan in HubSpot, we sync that as deals in a new deal pipeline. If you're on an enterprise subscription, we sync that as a custom object. And then we also sync all of your transactions. So essentially what we're doing here is rebuilding the entirety of the Stripe data model directly inside of HubSpot. And the basics of Zebra is that it's going to sync all of that in real time across the 2 systems. So if you do have an existing Stripe account and you have a HubSpot account, it is a minute or 2 to get this set up, type in and paste in an API key and hit save. And then we'll start backfilling all of your pre-existing data and start syncing any new data. But sync is really just the first piece of it. So once we have all of that data in the 2 systems, we then want to allow you to be able to manage them. So for your sales users, your service users, anybody that is inside of HubSpot and needs to interact with your customer records, they can do all of that straight inside of HubSpot. So that means that they can provision new subscriptions. So if they're talking to a customer, they want to add a subscription or a service line or process a one-time payment over the phone, they can do all of that straight within HubSpot without leaving. All of that is PCI compliant, runs through Stripe, and they can manage all of their upgrades and downgrades, pauses, cancellations, any of your workflows around managing customer subscriptions. If you get an email into your support inbox that says, hey, can I cancel my account? Typically a service agent either has to submit a request or go log into an active admin panel or somewhere else. They can do it straight from HubSpot. They can manage refunds, generating invoices, and they can actually configure, price, and quote all using Stripe products. So we have a custom quote that gets inserted into HubSpot, and that's going to allow a user to send that quote. And when that customer checks out, they'll have a subscription provisioned in Stripe with the correct product ID, all the same metadata, everything you might want to do on that side. So not only are you going to sync all of that data, but you can manage all of it straight from HubSpot as well. And because we talked a little bit about sync, really the value of sync is not just that the data exists, but you can do stuff with it. So because everything exists inside of HubSpot and you have all of that Stripe data directly, not only can you power workflows in HubSpot off of any of that information. So perhaps a new subscription is created, new transaction goes through, something fails. Any of those events you can power workflows off of, but you can also then do anything you might want to do in HubSpot. So maybe you want to create a task for one of your service agents to go follow up with a customer when their credit card expires or a payment fails, or perhaps you want your sales team to go reach out every time a new free trial subscription is created inside of your HubSpot account, or any other HubSpot action you might want to process. And so really you get the full power of everything that works in the HubSpot CRM, all on top of your existing Stripe data. So really adding that HubSpot automation engine on top of anything in Stripe. And you can do this off of anything that sends a webhook in Stripe. So if that data exists, you can do it. You have all of those different pieces inside of that HubSpot data model. And most importantly, that we found for lots of customers that we work with is because you have all of that Stripe data inside of HubSpot, you can do really cool reporting. By being able to unify your subscription and your payments data with everything in your CRM, you're able to manage all of these pieces together to really show how your customers are progressing through your life cycle, and you can manage all of your reporting in one place. So no longer are you asking, oh, our MRR numbers we're reporting in our CRM is maybe different than what finance is seeing, which is maybe different than what different folks in different departments are seeing. Everyone's running off of the same data. Everything is syncing into HubSpot. And because you have all of that combined with your marketing, your service, and your sales information, we can do things like what's our total customer lifetime value versus how much does it cost to acquire them, averaging all of our MRR, churn analysis, upgrades, downgrades, attribution, sales commissions, anything you might want to do from a sales or a service or a marketing workflow off of your Stripe data directly inside of HubSpot. If you want to know more about Zebra, we're happy to take you through an individual demo, or do check it out on the HubSpot app marketplace. But if you are foreign to Stripe, or maybe you're slightly using Stripe already, I'm going to hand it over to Rob and tell you about how awesome Stripe is and how much more you can do with it than what we've been talking about so far.
Awesome. Thank you, Connor. Appreciate it. So everyone, actually, if we can move to the next slide, Caitlin, that'd be great. Wanted to start off first with a brief company overview for those of you that are not familiar with Stripe. So Stripe has roughly over 8,000 employees, and approximately 40% of those employees are engineering focused resources. And we support over 2 million businesses worldwide, from startups to Fortune 500 companies like Amazon, Ford, or Salesforce. And we process hundreds of billions of dollars each year across 45 countries, and we support over 135 currencies and local payment methods. Next slide. We're also honored to be recognized as a leader for the second time in a row by the latest Forrester Wave report. They look at over 16 different criteria, and we were given the highest overall score in both strategy and current product offering. So we're pretty proud of this. And then next, I should say, let me get into the Stripe platform. So we hear from customers a lot, like no matter what industry that you're in, a lot of businesses today are under a lot of pressure and facing a lot of economic change. A lot of these trends have been building up for many years. A lot of them are a little bit more recent, but in summary, all of them are accelerating. And some examples of these things are direct to consumer is becoming a new norm. Everything can be now sold as a subscription service. On-demand delivery has really surged as consumers have moved more and more online. And retailers are beginning to expand and offer multi-sided marketplaces. And the challenge a lot of these businesses have is they cannot make the business model changes fast enough, because when it comes to their financial infrastructure, they usually have a disparate technology stack. And so with Stripe, we believe you can move at startup speed while building on an enterprise-grade infrastructure. And we have over 20 key capabilities or solutions on our platforms beyond payments. And I'm going to quickly highlight 3 of those today, just given our time. And so one is going to be automating tax collection, or Stripe Tax. The next is going to be billing and invoicing. And then the third will be data insights and analytics. All right, so first, Stripe Tax. Actually, Caitlin, if you could go back to Stripe Tax, I'm sorry. So 2 slides back for Stripe Tax. There we go. So Stripe Tax simplifies tax compliance. So you don't have to worry about these questions, and you can instead kind of focus on growing your business. So when you're thinking about collecting or calculating tax or VAT or GST, you might be thinking about, where do I even need to collect taxes? How much should I charge depending on the product or the location that I'm in, or that I'm selling in, I should say. What do I do with all the money that I've collected on behalf of the government? So with Stripe Tax, it's really easy to set up. You can add either one line of code into your existing integration, or if you're using one of our no-code products, such as invoicing, it's just something you can enable quickly on our dashboard. And Stripe Tax helps you measure your Stripe transactions against local thresholds, and it lets you know where you're obliged to collect taxes or where you're not yet obliged to. In markets where you are obliged to, Stripe Tax automatically calculates the right amount of taxes depending on the exact location of your buyer. And so, and then lastly, you can really speed up filing and remittance with a lot of out-of-box reports and analytics that we have available. The next is Stripe Billing. So Stripe Billing really fits right in the middle of your order to revenue workflow by connecting your CRM or ERP and accounting systems. And what's great about Stripe is we offer all of this billing invoicing as part of our platform. And often the approach that a lot of companies takes is they either build some of these capabilities themselves, or they'll stitch together separate payment, subscription management, or invoicing software. And so you don't have to do that with Stripe. So with Stripe, we really give you the flexibility to collect revenue. We actually help you grow and earn more revenue. For example, I think Connor was talking about this earlier, but Smart Retries or Card Account Updater helps you automatically recover payments that have failed on a subscription and kind of eliminates a lot of that manual work that sometimes businesses take on themselves. And then lastly, having everything unified really helps users save time. So it's just one software stack to integrate, and you only have to change one thing and it works globally. And then lastly, we have Stripe Data Pipeline. So while Stripe itself has capabilities directly in our platform to do reporting and analytics, we also recognize that a lot of businesses would like to leverage that Stripe data and compare it to other data repositories that they might have. So with Stripe Data Pipeline, you can export your Stripe data directly into Snowflake or Amazon Redshift in just a few clicks. And so you might want to look at things like, how does my cash flow change based on seasonality? Or what are the most popular subscription plans per segment? Or what's the average time between account creation and a customer's first order? And so these are some really nice features or questions that businesses like to ask. And with Stripe Data Pipeline, again, what's really nice about Stripe is it just takes a few minutes, maybe half an hour, to set up these things very quickly. And so basically you create one single source of truth, and you can help get better data insights, So with that, that's a brief overview of Stripe. If you have any more questions, please check out our website or ask them in the Q&A, and we're happy to follow up with you. So back to you, Connor.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. So hopefully, I think for everybody here, if you're doing anything with subscriptions right now, you're interested in doing things with subscriptions, whether it's HubSpot payments, your existing Stripe account in Zebra, or if you're a Stripe customer or struggling with different processors and you want to get way more out of it, hit up Stripe and Rob as well. We'll transition to questions from folks. And I saw a couple come through that I'll try to tackle directly. But if you do have other questions that you guys want to cover, please throw them in the Q&A and we'll jump over to them right now. One that I got from Lillian is if Zebra works with Starter HubSpot. The answer on our side is yes. So Zebra will be able to connect to a Starter account. There will be limitations there around, so you can't sync custom objects, obviously, because you don't have access to them. And I don't know if you can create a custom deal pipeline in a Starter account off the top of my head. But you can install Zebra. We can get you a more exact answer to that if you want to reach out to us. But you should be able to install it in the marketplace, but you won't have access to custom objects or different pieces in a Starter account. But all of the sync data will come through. Any HubSpot feature limitations you might have could certainly apply. Let me go through and see if I find another one of these. Question from Camille on nonprofits. So wondering if there is a way to do that with this stack. So Zebra, we actually work closely with the HubSpot nonprofits folks as well. And you can use Zebra for nonprofits. Mike, I don't know if you know the answer on nonprofits for payments.
Yeah. So for a while, we weren't allowing nonprofits. One of the biggest reasons was that we didn't have open amounts for donations. That's something that's coming probably early August. So we've started to allow nonprofits to come in. So like right now, if you need to process a subscription, or if you feel comfortable putting up fixed amounts for donations, you can do that. And then we'll have the ability for open amounts that's coming in early August where you'll be able to do donations. So yeah, nonprofits can use HubSpot payments now, and we'll have more features, in a month or two away from here.
Cool. And I think as far as Zebra is concerned, Zebra works with nonprofits now. So if you can get what you need from payments, they'll have it in a month or two. If you need it right now, Zebra does support it. Specific to nonprofits, we do have that. One of the primary features that we built for nonprofits is around being able to collect a donation over the phone. So you can pop open that credit card entry and enter it directly and save that as a donation. And then you can automatically send that person sort of like an email that gives them sort of their receipt and all of those pieces. Same from Camille, which is some of our clients do group fundraising. So that's been one of our main challenges in helping nonprofits get all the way over to HubSpot with memberships, donors, etc. I think that Zebra would be able to help you on that front also. It's possible you may be able to do some of it with HubSpot Payments. Would be more than happy to chat with you on it. We work with a whole bunch of different nonprofits, and it's possible that we could help out. Camille, I'll throw I think my email's on the next slide as well. Feel free to email me directly if you do have anything that we don't get to in the Q&A as well. I'm sure that Mike and Rob would also love to hear from you, and we'd be happy to set you up with folks at our respective teams to go sort of deep into your use case and your needs as well. But Camille, I think what you're looking to do is hyper applicable, and we've done some stuff with the nonprofits folks already. Another one from nonprofits, which is from Aman, which is how best can we use these in case of nonprofits, and nonprofits have different attributes like one-off donations, monthly recurring. So on our side, and then I think that this would be applicable for Mike also, and I'll let you expand on it. Sure. Zebra, we can both take a donation over the phone or in real time. An agent can open a window, type in a credit card, process a one-time payment, or generate a subscription. And then similar for sort of capturing those one-off payments or recurring monthly donations. And then I know for we've built for nonprofits on, I guess it wouldn't be for nonprofits, but for that same workflow, you should be able to capture on the HubSpot payment side, sort of that one-off donation directly on your site once they support it. So Mike, I'll let you expand on that if there's anything specific you guys have seen as use cases there.
Yeah, so I mean, one-off payments and recurring, we can do both. Like I said, open amounts will be coming probably in early August. One thing we don't have that I think is important to call out is the ability to collect payment over the phone. So all of our transactions must be executed by the buyer. So that's just one thing to consider when you're thinking through HubSpot Payments. But beyond that, yeah, we can do everything up until the donation of an open amount, which again, we'll have in early August.
Sweet. From April, what additional features do you foresee Zebra having in the future? Great question. One of the ones we're already planning that actually touches a little on what Rob already talked about. And I think some of the things that we're the most excited about, right, is Zebra at its core is really bringing the best of Stripe and the best of HubSpot together, and really being able to leverage the functionality on both of those platforms. The next thing that we're really looking at is adding tax. So Rob really demoed and talked about the automated Stripe tax functionality, which is huge. I know we dealt with that last year, and being a remote business, taxes across the entirety of just the US is extremely complicated with Nexus and everything else. And so we're looking to add that into Zebra as well, where you could enable tax flows to be able to collect where's that person located. Do you need to collect tax in their region? And all of that's built on top of Stripe's tax functionality. So if you're a business and you're worried about tax, we should be able to soon solve for that. But Stripe has amazing functionality for it already that we use today, and doing sort of both the automated remittance as well as making sure that you are collecting that in the states and regions that you need to. And that's sort of our immediate future next steps, and would love to hear other things that people might want to build that we didn't get to touch on as well. Question from Serge, and I'm not sure if this is for you or me, Mike. So I'll read it, and then if you have an answer right away, feel free, and then I'll give it a thought after I read it out to you. But which is, can users pause or update payments renewal dates? I think I read that as parse originally, so I thought it was going to be harder. On our side, yes. So with Zebra, you can actually go in, you can hit pause on any subscription, and you can also edit the dates against that subscription. So anything you can manage on that subscription, you can open it up inside of HubSpot, edit it, modify it, change it to a different piece. Mike, I don't know if in HubSpot Payments, what you guys got.
Yeah, right. It's because we use a native subscriptions object, right? So we're still building that. Right now, you can see the subscription on the contact company and deal record. We don't have editing ability just yet. So it's on our roadmap, probably I'd say late Q3, Q4. What you'll start to see is the ability to process upgrades, downgrades, prorating, subscription start dates, all of that. So yeah, those features are coming. They're not currently live just yet, but on our roadmap, and they're a 2022 focus.
Sweet. Pausing is a workflow. I know we've already built with certainty on Zebra. We have a customer who is a membership based business charging for access to courses and fees. And they needed pausing and being able to allow agents to pause subscriptions on behalf of members off of a service ticket. And so I know that workflow is certainly in there for sure. We have time for one more if someone has something. Thanks from Search. That's great. Glad we were able to answer that for you. If you guys if you're interested in learning more about any of the things that we talked about today, we'd all be happy to talk to you, but also would love to get anything set up. I threw a link to the Zebra page on HubSpot, HubSpot payments, search it. It's awesome. You can learn more about that as well. And Rob, if people want to get in touch with Stripe, reach out and we can make sure that happens also. So if you're interested in learning about any more about these solutions, please let us know. And we'll be sending out the recording as well as some next steps if you're interested in these of how to get in touch. And other than that, thank you all so much for coming. And thank you to Rob and Mike for lending your expertise.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks, everybody. Bye, y'all.